And a pleasant good afternoon. I'm Ernesto Garcia, and this is Let's Talk Tresco from the division of the Sea Valley News. And thanks to the paid sponsorship of Tresco, we're getting a chance to give you a look into what happens here at Tresco. And we've had a great journey on this part, but my journey part comes to an end. So for the last episode, I brought in two special guests that helped make this very possible. We'll explain what we were talking about. Yes, these two people that are right next to me. And I promise that they are going to have all the fun while I'm staring at you folks at the camera to let you know what is going on. But if you have questions or anything such, we'll let you know. The first things first, I always like bringing up the website that is here so people know right off the bat where you can find any of the information that we're going to discuss, talk about, or even have questions on. And it's all simple and easy to use. And once again, that's over at trescoinc.org, trescoinc.org. So who is Tresco? Well, the mission of Tresco is simple. For over 54 years, they have been providing professional and individualized services, supports, and opportunities to people in any age with different abilities and with differing abilities, their families and communities they serve. They proudly serve 12 counties in New Mexico. There was a big release yesterday from Chris Boston at the Rotary Club that we'll explain. But the big services include child services, which consists of TOTS early intervention, day one home visiting programs. TOTS has been a founding early intervention program in Doñana and Sierra County, providing families with babies from birth to age 3, therapy, education, and coaching on how to support their baby's development milestones. And of course, 1,000 people so far being currently served. That's actually over 1,000 that you can keep up with. And then there's day one, which is a parents, as parents, teachers, affiliated programs that partners with expecting families and families with babies from birth to age 5 to promote child development, parental support, and relationship building among families, home visitors, and community. 250 plus families are being served. And the news that just got out, and of course, we're happy to announce it here as well, there's expansion into the Albuquerque, Santa Fe area that is going to be happening. Another division of Tresco is Tresco Works, which offers community employment opportunities to people with varying disabilities, including veterans and students, through federal, state, and local contracts. Currently has over 50 contracts that provide quality custodial grounds and total facility management, serving 12 counties throughout New Mexico. The CSS program, which we have discussed before, that Chris Boston was here, the CEO, to talk about as well, that'll be making its way to another part down and making transformations with states. And I appreciate the two people that have made this possible and the people that have put out the word. And as I mentioned to Stacy before we started this interview, we had a meeting about, I'm going to say 6 months ago, Stacy, is that what it was?
You're right. Yep.
About 6 months ago, where we sat down and you asked about looking at this podcast format as to what we would do. And to what I thought was to be anything but a podcast. I thought what we would do is let the individuals come in and speak for themselves. We say one of the best for last to tell a story, but it was telling the story and telling the journey of what Tresco is. And I think throughout this time, we've gotten the stories going and people are starting to know more about it, starting to see that these are real people that are neighbors that live with them, that live in this community, pay taxes in this community, support it. And they're here and they've got quality jobs, quality of life has improved, and a lot of things have changed very much for them.
Absolutely. I mean, for 54 years, that's a long chapter book to discuss. And with over 500 employees and 1,000 plus families we're serving, our mission is around you everywhere you look. And this platform was an opportunity to showcase and highlight our mission that is living and breathing every single day, and that we are dedicated to serve and commit to and provide even more services, because if we're taking care of each other, our community will be better as a whole. And 12 counties, we're impacting 12 counties of families, of children, of adults, taxpayers, community leaders. People want to be inclusive in their community, and Tresco is proud to be the game changer in leading that force for 54 years. 54 more years. Let's go, Tresco.
And let's talk about the big news that developed. I did not. Albuquerque, Santa Fe. Boy, that's really going to make Tresco grow. And that means more opportunities are coming, aren't they?
Yeah, I just found out about that yesterday. So Sylvia.
Sylvia, who's joining us, by the way, is going to be the person, the chief operations officer here. We're going to get to your story in just a second, but obviously can you explain a little bit more about what's coming to Albuquerque and Santa Fe?
Yes. So we have our day one home visiting program that has been in existence, I think, a little under 5 years now. And we currently serve Doñana and Sierra County, just like we do for our TOTS early intervention program as well. And we were actually visited with the state, and they inquired on our interest of moving or continuing expanding our day one home visiting services into Albuquerque and Santa Fe to reach the families that are expecting parents and really kind of get that going. It's called a Centennial program, and so it's Medicaid funded, and so it's different funding than what Day One does right now. And they're really needing an organization that has been able to stand the test of time through COVID. COVID was very, very difficult, and there's a lot of companies that are just coming back to, being normal, being back in business. And for Day One, Tots, and all of Tresco, we never shut down throughout COVID because we are essential services that our families need. And so we were open throughout all of it. And so they're really interested in having us embark in Albuquerque and Santa Fe and providing those much needed family services out there.
I'll tell you what, that is a game changer, and I can only see so much growth with the number of people that live in the Albuquerque Santa Fe area. I probably guess that includes Rio Rancho as well, too.
Yes.
So you're looking at already over 500,000 people. These services very important, but you mentioned something that's very important. Through the pandemic, this is the best thing I've learned on this journey out of all the interviews I've known, is how this organization kept its doors open, worked around all the rules, worked around every change that happened. I'm sure was watching the governor's weekly addresses constantly to know what was going on. And it's a testament to what the staff has been able to do, and yourself as the chief operating officer to keep things running and moving around. That really made a difference.
Yes, we are very, very, very lucky that we had staff that they believed the mission, they understood the mission, and they understood why they needed to come to work every day. We can't just tell a family, we know that your child is having some delays and we're providing services, but we're going to stop. We can't just tell, an individual that needs a ride to work so that way they can continue to get to work. We can't just tell an individual that needs a ride to their doctor appointment that we have to stop. So we never stopped. And we are very, very thankful for our staff. And we hope that they felt that and knew that throughout the entire process. We were always trying to do different things to engage them and thank them. And we supported local lunches on Wednesdays and, used all the different companies that the restaurants were struggling. And so we ordered lunch and brought it in for our employees. And, we tried to do bonuses for staying on because we knew that, yes, there was safety issues. There was health issues. There was having to be careful, going home to their families because they were here at work. And so we are very, very thankful. And we're very glad that we had staff that understood what the mission was and that we were essential and we had to come to work.
Well, and to go off of that, not only did we not lay anybody off, but we actually grew during that time. I mean, we had our commitments to our clients and our families and our vendors, and we were the frontline workers. We were essentials. We were in buildings, and everyone says, COVID maybe told us to think outside the box. Tresco lived outside the box. We took those 4 walls and built them down because technology was on our side. We had to do Teams meeting. We did virtual trainings. We had drive-through packets and resource materials. Like, it made us get rid of the norm and what's our future, and to live outside that box because we had families and individuals that we needed to serve. And that's huge. And I'm super proud to be a part of Tresco with that commitment. We didn't shut the doors, turn the lights off, and stayed dormant for 2 years. We were out and about.
Well, Stacy, these are the stories that we've been talking about, the people that are involved in it. So we have one more story to tell, and that's the story of the Chief Operating Officer, Sylvia herself. So how long have you been here?
I've been here 15 years.
How did you come here?
So I started in 2006. I was working at a childcare center as a lead preschool teacher, and I saw that there was an opening for a family service coordinator. And I had no clue what that was, but I knew that the pay was better, the benefits were better, and the company was larger than what I was working for. And so I applied and got interviewed, and it was actually when our administrative building, which is now at 1800 Copper Loop, was at 2325 Nevada. And so that's where I actually interviewed. And even throughout the interview, went through the interview, answered all their questions, and then they offered me the job. I still didn't know what I was going to be doing.
On the job training.
I get that syndrome. I understand that.
So, and then they had, I guess it was multiple positions that they had open at the time. And so they even asked, was I willing to work in Anthony, New Mexico? And I said, yes. I said, sure. You want to hire me? I'll go work in Anthony, New Mexico. And so that's really how I came to work with Tresco. So family service coordinator, what that is it's essentially like a case manager. You're making sure that in TOTS early intervention, the family is getting all of the services that we've said that they're going to get, and that we're doing evaluations and assessments, and we're making sure that everything's happening as it's supposed to. I, as the service coordinator, was making sure that everything was happening, working with the team, working with the family. That's how it came to Tresco.
Wow, I'm glad you get a chance to make it to Tresco here, and the stories change, but you start off, then advancement comes. Talk about a company that also was offering better pay, and this is one of the things that we say that's on the website. You want to know the benefits, full or part-time, flexibility of hours, it's available there. That's why I always tell people the website is golden. You go there, you find it out. You find all these opportunities. How did the opportunity of growth come, and how did you become the chief operating officer?
So from being the family service coordinator, I was in that position for about a year when they realized the family service coordinators needed a mentor. They needed somebody that could provide them training and guidance. And so they decided to create a position that was called a lead family service coordinator. And they had one for the Anthony office and one for the Las Cruces office. And so I applied and I became the lead for the Anthony office, doing that training and mentorship for the family service coordinators. And I actually didn't get to do that position very long. I think it was about maybe 6 months. And then we had a shift, as it happens. Right, Ernesto?
Mm-hmm.
So we had a shift and some people left. And so our area managers that were in the Anthony and the Las Cruces office had gone on to other jobs. And so those were open. And so the area managers were in charge of the family service coordinators, and they were in charge of the developmental specialist in TOTS. And so then I applied for that job. And at that time, there was 2 of us that applied, and both of us worked in Anthony. And so they asked, would I be willing to do the Las Cruces? So I'm like, well, I live in Las Cruces, so that's fine. Totally fine. So that's when I came to the Las Cruces office and I became the area manager, and I oversaw the services that we were providing in TOTS in the Las Cruces area. So then that's like one piece. And then from there, I think I was in that position maybe a couple years, and we had a director, Alejandra, and she was great. She was phenomenal, and they scooped her up, and she moved to Santa Fe because the state scoops up the good people.
Yeah, of course.
So she moved to Santa Fe, and at that time is when, after a short interim period, then I applied for the director position and became the director over. At that time, all we had was TOTS early intervention, which was the children's services. While I was the director at TOTS is when we applied and became able to provide the day one home visiting services. And so I brought that into Tresco. And then when Chris Boston, our current CEO, came on board, I think I quickly either irritated him or he liked what I was asking, all the questions I was asking.
That is how it goes.
Yeah, either he was like, I want you to answer these questions that you're always asking me. And so that's when him and I started to work together. And that's when I became the chief operating officer to oversee our children's services, our adult services, and then our human resource department.
For those that might be just tuning in as we're talking to Sylvia, how long did it go from when you first got hired to get to the chief operating officer?
So I became the director in 2010 of TOTS. And then I became the chief operating officer in 2017.
Many years.
Yeah.
So it was very fast.
Yes.
So there's always that chance for development in parts. And I think people need to know that because, like I said, people, when we look at the jobs that are opening right now, these are careers that can really help. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to be an operating officer, but it means it could be something that really lasts a long time. But for what you're doing to take care, this department, from what I hear, and every time Chris mentions it, we talked about how the CSS was going to be changing, but we have these strong departments. Tresco ain't going anywhere. And your
Correct.
department is probably one of the strongest ones over there.
Correct. TOTS and Day One are, like you said, TOTS is one of the founding early intervention agencies. And it's got, a lot of strength in the community of Doña Ana and Sierra County. And then we've got now the Day One. And Day One home visiting just continues. Home visiting continues to be something that's really focused on to continue to expand throughout the state of New Mexico. The importance of being preventative over intervention. Intervention is important when you need that intervention, but I think the state is really trying to meet families at the beginning. And that's where Day One home visiting comes in. And so, yes, it's lucrative. It's going to continue to be essential because, as we all know, the children are our future. And if we can invest in them when they're little, there's less investment that you have to do longer in high school, in middle school, in elementary, if we're working with them when they're in the early childhood ages.
I always like asking this question. What's the biggest reward you get from coming to work?
Working with Stacy.
Really?
She paid me to say that.
And working with Sylvia.
You
got the double S's
here. This is what we were thinking as a morning show one time. I know this would be
Sweet
okay.
and sassy. You decide who's who.
We can go that all the time. But like I said, I would have lost it, and my fiance probably would have been like, "You're not going to live." I said, "No, I would not have lived." But seriously.
But no, all seriousness, what's the biggest reward? I think the biggest reward is knowing and getting to see the people that do the work. You know, I get told a lot, "Oh, you're at Tresco. Oh, you do great things. Oh, you do wonderful things." And I always stop and I say, I'm not actually the one that does the wonderful things. I get to supervise the people that do the wonderful things. And that's really what it is. I get to see the therapists that get to make that impact with a family, the home visitor that gets to finally give that success story that they got, the parents a job, or they got them into a house that was more suitable. Or I get to hear the stories of, somebody in Socorro that is so happy that he can continue to have his job and he's going to do whatever it takes. And it's just all of those success stories of the people that work here. That's what I enjoy hearing, because I'm more of a behind the scenes person, and I'd rather just hear all the great things that Tresco's doing, and I'm not in the limelight. It really is what they're doing.
I'll leave you with one question on the journey. What's your biggest success story?
My biggest success story.
Either behind the scenes, or you just let him go and your special moment, that moment for you.
I'm going to say 2, because if I don't, I think people will get upset. So first would be that we wrote and received the day 1 home visiting program. That was huge. We were in the interim. We didn't have a CEO. So this is literally the CFO at the time, the HR director at the time, and who is the director now, Michael Armendariz, and then myself writing for this and getting the day 1 home visiting services. So that was huge. I think that was a huge accomplishment for us. And then I think secondly would be we created something called the Night to Shine event. And the first time we did it was in 2020, and it was right before COVID hit. It was February of 2020. It was a huge success. And so many different opportunities to meet the mission came from that event that evening. And so it's the Tim Tebow Foundation that does this Night to Shine, and it's a prom for people with disabilities. And Tresco partnered with 3 churches in town, and we put together this great event, and it was huge. I mean, we were told that we had to have at least 75 people. We ended up with double that. And, it was the whole thing, the limo ride, the prepping them to get ready for prom, the corsages, the food, the dancing, the photo booth. I mean, it was the whole event. And it was, myself, along with our events committee and the churches that partnered with us that put this together. And it just became a really larger than life community event that was unforgettable. And then we barely got off that high, and then COVID hit. So, I mean, I don't think we got to celebrate it as much, but that was a huge success. I think when they're ready to do it back in person, we will be ready to party with them. Yes.
All right. I look forward to seeing that. Those are 2 great success stories. And Stacy, this is the stories that we talked about. This is the journey that we wanted to bring. Is to tell these stories, because, like I said, not many people hear of it. Here we have so many social media platforms. I'm still trying to figure out Twitch, but somebody sees it, somebody looks out there and finds it. That's the most important thing, and the message is getting across. Do you believe?
Absolutely. And I think we're improving every single podcast we've had. I get comments in the community. I get letters and emails. I didn't know you did that. I didn't know you served there. I know that person. I didn't know he worked at Tresco. The word is spreading. We're our own walking billboards. This platform gives an opportunity for our mission to share their journey, because everyone I think has been touched by our mission and doesn't even realize it. I mean, we go to events and we're like, my neighbor, my daughter, my niece, my friend has been in one of our programs. And that's what the longevity of our impact of changing people's lives. And we just want people to know, don't fear the disability. You need to embrace everyone's different abilities. And that's a change, a diversity of inclusion there. You need to, we're all different. We all have value and purpose to bring, knowing that we can just be part of that journey and that process with the family and an individual. It's very rewarding.
The website is real simple to find. You'll find the opportunities. You can start your success today. They're right there. You can schedule an interview. They're daily going on. On average, how many interviews do you average on a daily basis?
I wouldn't even be able to tell you.
A lot.
It's a lot. Every day we have our recruitment staff in our HR department, and every day they are, fielding phone calls, looking through Indeed, looking through our website, looking through Facebook, looking through anywhere that we get any kind of inquiries about if we're hiring. They're also out in the community. They go to the farmers market. They go to health fairs. They'll be at other events, Easter events. They'll be at anything and everything. And they're always fielding those questions about, what we're hiring for, where we're hiring. They go out to the communities, as Stacy mentioned earlier, 12 different counties that we serve. So we have to go and we have to visit there. They're out in Socorro, they're out in TRC, they're out in Lordsburg, they're out in Deming, and they're wanting to meet the people that are interested in jobs. But in addition to that, we have to where anybody at any time could walk in, they could call, and we will greet them and we will interview them if they are prepared and they want to interview with us. We also do on the first and third Thursday of every month, we do walk-in interviews in the afternoon, so that way people can just walk right in, bring their resume, not bring a resume, fill out our application, get to find out what vacancies we have, what they might be interested in. And we just try to make it very, very easy, because right now we're still coming back from COVID and not everybody knows how to do it, where to do it, when should I do it. It's just getting your feet in the water, and we're willing to help anybody find a job, because that's what we're here to do.
We come out of COVID, before we leave here, Stacy, I want you to give all that information again, where people need to go, how they're going to find it, and I know you're going to do a good job as I leave to keep telling people where to find you.
Well, again, we're at 1800 Copper Loop Lane, trescoinc.org for our website, our YouTube, our Facebook, our Twitter. The word is going to be out there. Call the S's. We'll give you our cell phone numbers. We'll get you connected.
Sweet and saucy, right? Is that what we went with?
Sassy.
Sassy. Okay.
I'm sweet.
I was thinking the other show.
Yeah. Depends on the day. We can switch the S to sweet and sassy here. But no, we want people to become part of our mission, whether it's working here, participating in one of our services, a volunteer, being part of our events committee, be part of our recruitment. We've got a place here for you. So join our mission.
Find out more about the mission. It's online, trescoinc.org, or you can also call Tresco at any time at 575-528-2200, 575-528-2200. Ladies, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed, Sylvia, you coming to the radio station. We've worked with each other for a long time.
Yes.
Even at the March
Times board, yes.
No, and trust me, she was a lot more fun then too. She did a lot of great things. She was really good at organizing planning events. And Stacy, always loved, we have a lot of fun in high school basketball.
Yes, we do.
I can't wait for a senior breakout year that's expected next year, because that's going to be fun to watch.
And I'm looking forward to seeing you at the games, at the announcer booth, yelling that Emma gets her moves from her mama.
There you go. Or saying, "Can security please escort this lady out? The official has just kicked her out of the gym." Yeah.
The Bulldogs.
For being a little too loud.
No, but Ernesto, thank you for helping make this happen. Without you and our partnership and relationship, this would not happen. So we are going to miss you dearly, but we're super excited for your next chapter. And thank you for your support and your vision for Tresco and helping us get the word out there.
We're going to continue that word. This segment will continue. It'll be in a different form. We're not certain how that's going to play out yet, but Stacy's involved in it. So I promise you'll get the word out. Thanks to Chris Boston for all of his time as well. Appreciated talking with him and giving me the opportunity to be here to talk with you folks. And I think we have one watching from California. Prissy wanted to say hello, ladies. So.
Oh, hi. Thank you. We're like stars.
There you go. This is Let's Talk Tresco from the Sea Valley News. I'm Ernesto Garcia. Have a pleasant day.